central part of the novel and of the film is the trip to the Marabar Caves. This has been foreshadowed earlier in the novel and the film as a mysterious place that can really affect people in various ways. So Dr. Aziz has got all of the group together to make this trip to the caves. And this shows us Mrs. Moore, Adela Quested, and Dr. Aziz going into the body of the caves. What Mrs. Moore isn't told as she goes into the caves is that there's this extraordinary echo that takes place. And so once they get into the caves, they try the echo out, and it reverberates back and forth. What Forster says in the novel is that this echo sort of leveled all cultural value. So as if they're in a kind of nihilistic state in which everything from the Lord's Prayer to the cry of a baby to the most obscene comment is all kind of leveled. So there isn't any cultural mooring that holds them together. So this scene depicts this giving of the echo. It reverberates over and over. Now you'll notice in this scene that the person most affected by this is Mrs. Moore. She's very sensitive to this cultural shock that she's experiencing. And she tries to stay there and endure it, but it becomes more excruciating for her. At some point here, Dr. Aziz is going to actually call out her name, Mrs. Moore. You see here, they're listening to the echo. Adela gets closer to Dr. Aziz. But Mrs. Moore cannot take the echo, and she realizes she's going to have to leave. And so the real turning point is here. Dr. Aziz is shouting her name, Mrs. Moore, and that's going to be just too much for her. And so she's going to turn and leave the cave. Once she's out of the cave, she tries to regain her composure, and she goes over to a place, sits down. Adela comes out to find out what is wrong with her. In the novel, this is Forster's real philosophical point, where he says the experience that she has had in the cave has been so culturally powerful that has made her question her own value system. This is reduced in the film to Mrs. Moore saying, as we grow older and we come up against these unusual experiences, sometimes we conclude that perhaps we are in a godless universe. And so this conversation with Adela tries to capture that philosophical thing. This is when she's looking up, seeing the moon above her. She's in the sublunar world where things go astray, and she realizes that we may be not as culturally secure as we thought we were. The conclusion to the novel, after all the conflicts that occur in the caves, and you'll see how this plays out, it plays out the same way in the book and in the film. Then there's the hope that maybe there can be communication, maybe there can be enlightenment. And so the temple at the end is the Festival of Lights. And here Dr. Aziz is saying that what has transpired maybe has been reconciled, and maybe things are going to be better in the future. In fact, in this scene he says the evil of the Marabar may have been put to rest.